Alex Walmsley is not ashamed to admit he had once given up on his dream. By the conclusion of England's World Cup group game with Lebanon on Saturday, people will know much more about the menacing figure that is the St. Helens prop. But 5 years ago his story could not have been more different. It wasn't possible to be here back then, he said before his international debut in Sydney. Only 5 years ago, Walmsley was studying to be a quantity surveyor at Leeds Beckett University. His rugby experience strictly limited to his university side and his local club in rural Yorkshire, Dewsbury Celtic, rivals of Dewsbury Moor, where the likes of Sam Burgess crafted their name as up-and-coming stars. Walmsley is not afraid to say that back then the prospect of him playing internationally was unthinkable. Yet here he is, the only change to England's side, replacing the injured Burgess as Wayne Bennett's team aimed to bounce back from defeat to Australia and take a significant step towards the quarter-finals. Back then, the ultimate goal was playing for Barla, Great Britain's amateur team, he says. I did that, which was nice, but 5 years on, to be playing on the biggest stage in rugby league, that's a pretty awesome journey which I'm very proud of. It was a pipe dream back then, but through hard work, here we are. Walmsley was handed his break with the championship side Batley at the age of 22. He adapted quickly to the professional game and established a reputation as one of the best forwards outside the Super League. That caught the attention of several top-flight clubs, and it was St. Helens who, a year later in 2013, offered him an opportunity at the big time. Walmsley still recalls his formative years in the rainy and muddy amateur leagues in West Yorkshire, a world away from where he will play on Saturday in the glitz and glamour of Sydney, with pride. I'm proud of the route I've taken, I really do love it, he says. It makes for a great story, and it's one I'm always happy to tell. To go from the amateur scene, playing on pitches where you've got cows next to you on the touchline and in farmers' fields, to this is special. I'm humbled by how far I've come. It's been a bumpy ride, but the highs have always outweighed the lows. Given his swift transformation into one of England's most talented forwards, it is perhaps surprising it has taken Walmsley this long to make his debut. He seemed certain to feature in 2015, but his chances of playing against New Zealand were curtailed by injury. He was then overlooked for last year's Four Nations. This time there was little doubt Walmsley would be selected after a fine year for St. Helens, but his expected debut against Australia last weekend was denied, this time by illness. I was questioning the big guy upstairs when that virus hit, he says. I think the rugby gods were testing me, but there was no way I'd be missing out again. I've come so close to pulling the shirt on before, and to be so close on so many occasions and miss out for whatever reason, be it injury, illness or not being picked, you do start to wonder if it'll ever happen. But from where I've been, I was determined I'd not get this far and miss out. Things may get even better for the 27-year-old too. Several of the NRL's best clubs are monitoring his situation at St. Helens, where his contract expires at the end of next season. Walmsley is coy on what happens beyond 2018, but admits the bright lights of Australia are appealing. We're yet to sit down and talk about a contract, he says. I will say this though, I love St. Helens and I owe them a lot. The NRL isn't necessarily something on my radar, but I could never rule it out. I'm on a journey, but so are we with England. I was gutted to miss last week, but respect Lebanon, prepare well, and hopefully I get my chance to meet the Aussies again later in the tournament. England: Lomax, McGillivray, Watkins, Bateman, Hull, Williams, Gale, Graham, Hodgson, Hill, Curry, Whitehead, Loughlan. Interchange: Walmsley, T. Burgess, Roby, Harrington.